What is up, everybody? FightHype Live, holding it down from the office in Las Vegas tonight. We definitely got people ringside in Los Angeles at the Crypto Arena. Still think of it as the Staples Center, but we're doing the live round by round tonight. Obviously, the fight's on Fox pay-per-view. For those of you who are ordering the fight, join in with us. But really coming in in the clutch here for people who weren't able to order the fight, or you're at work, or you didn't want to spend the 75. We got you for this live round by round tonight. Luis Ortiz versus Andy Ruiz. Right now, we're wrapping up with the co-main event. Cruz just got a second round knockout. This is, if you take out the Tank fight, this is basically all he does is fight on pay-per-view undercard, pay-per-view co-main events, and blow guys out and get the crowd hot for the main event. He did this Halloween 2020, knocking out Diego Magdaleno in one round when Tank fought Leo Santa Cruz. His last two fights, he knocked out Gamboa in, I think, 5 rounds, dropped him several times in April on the Spence Ugas undercard in Cowboy Stadium. And now, second round knockout here in the co-main event of Andy Ruiz and Luis Ortiz, doing himself a lot of favors, really optimizing and doing exactly what you got to do when you're given those opportunities on a pay-per-view co-main event or a big pay-per-view undercard. You got to look impressive, and that's what he did. He calls out Gervonta Davis after this performance. Tank was shaking his head. Tank apparently pulled up on Ryan Garcia in LA last night, and they didn't actually meet face-to-face, but they were in the same area at the same time. But that looks like the fight Tank wants. He was shaking his head no at a rematch with Cruz. So then Cruz went ahead and called out Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia and the other top lightweights. But A+ stuff for Cruz in this spot on the co-main event. Gets the second round knockout, does exactly what you hope to do given those opportunities. And now we just look forward to the main event, man. I guess let's see who's in the chat. We got about 60 people in the chat. Where the hell were you? I've been trying to listen to these other non-commentary, fake commentary. What's up, man? Happy to join. Better late than never. Honestly, I should have got on a little bit earlier and called that Cruz knockout. That would have been quick and fun. But we made sure to get on in time for the main event tonight. Luis Ortiz against Andy Ruiz, and I guess let's get to a little breakdown of the fight as we got time. I think that Ruiz, I like to look at fights before I check the odds from Vegas, and more times than not, it'll align with what Las Vegas has. And I agree with Vegas tonight. Vegas has Andy Ruiz a 3-1 favorite. They see this fight. They see this fight not going past 9.5 rounds. And that's exactly what I got it. I got it like Vegas tonight. Andy Ruiz between rounds 5 and 9. He might get dropped. He might get hurt. I think he'll get hurt. I'm not sure if he'll get dropped. I know Arreola dropped him, but I think his weight is better for this fight. I think he's replenished himself to a weight where he's comfortable. He looked like he lost a lot of weight quickly heading into Arreola, trying to get that weight, that number low on the scale. And it cost him in punch resistance, and I think even a little bit in punching power. And tonight, I expect that to kind of be back to where it was for that first Anthony Joshua fight. I believe he weighs the exact same weight, 268, that he did for Joshua. And, King Kong Ortiz, a couple of years ago, probably would have picked him to win this fight, would have gave him the edge, the counterpuncher against the aggressive guy coming in. But King Kong went down on a jab from Charles Martin in the 5th round of his last fight. He got brutally knocked out by Deontay Wilder twice. He's 43, and some people think he's really 48. I think I think his punch resistance is going to cost him tonight. I think he'll be landing on even terms with Ruiz in the first 3 or 4 rounds, but I don't think he'll be able to take what's coming back. And then Ruiz, with his youth and his hand speed, I think can start to win out the exchanges as the fight goes on. It'll go from even to Ruiz getting the advantage. So I got Ruiz winning this fight tonight. It won't be shocking if Ortiz lines him up. He still has power and positioning and style. And for his age, not general, but for his age, he's still got quick hands and he's still got a little life in his feet, kind of like Muhammad Ali when he came back from Vietnam, not able to move on his feet for 3 minutes of every round, but can still do it in spots. Ortiz can still do it in spots like he did against Wilder in the rematch, where he bounced around to his right a lot and just popped Wilder with his left hand and really won every round before getting knocked out in the rematch. But I just think in that Charles Martin fight, going down off that jab was a bad sign heading into Ortiz for tonight. Still great southpaw positioning, knows how to line you up for big shots, big power shots with the right hook and the straight left. can counterpunch still, but Ruiz with his youth, he's 10 years younger, with his hand speed advantage. And with Ortiz, he hasn't taken punishment. They both have 2 losses, but Ruiz didn't take any punishment to Joseph Parker. That was a close fight. And Joshua just boxed him and touched him up. Didn't hurt him that bad. Hit him with some right hands, but never really hurt. He put more hurting on Ruiz and getting knocked out the first fight where he dropped Ruiz than he did in outboxing him for 12 rounds. So King Kong's 10 years older. He's been brutally knocked out twice. Ruiz has never been knocked out. Ruiz outweighs him by 23 pounds, and it looks like it's a healthy, by his standards, physique he's coming in. Ruiz is expected to win by Las Vegas tonight. I think he does win tonight, but it's going to be fun while it lasts. Styles make fights, and this is going to be a fun heavyweight scrap. So I'm happy for everyone who's joining me in the chat. So let's see what's going on in the chat. Is the 5th today and the fight not yet happened? About time, could not find you, was ready to turn it off. Hey, happy you found me. You're here for the main event. Thank you, Rufus Collins. I appreciate your comment, man. So Nerf water gun. Yeah, all jokes aside, I hope Ryan and Tank fight in December. I'll believe it when I see it, man. You know, this, excuse me. You know, maybe I've been covering the sport, been covering it over a decade now. Just had my 31st birthday during the week, but you know, maybe I'm getting a little more cynical as time goes on. But I just big fights happening seems kind of harder than ever to put together. So I'll believe it when I see it, Ryan and Tank. But my attempts did go up where they usually don't. I'm used to these guys going back and forth and knowing in the back of my head it's going to take several years for those fights to marinate in today's era and actually be done and made. But when I saw the discussions about the weight happening, where basically it seemed like Tank was telling Ryan, fight has to happen at 135 pounds or there's no fight. And Ryan seemed to come back saying, I'm going to agree to everything. That sounds like a contract has actually been sent. And so, you know, that brings us a little more into reality of that fight actually happening. So usually I'd shoot it down, but that weight talk and the sounds of there being a legit contract being sent to Ryan, you know, we'll see. We might actually wind up getting that fight in December. We'll see. I have to see it to believe it. It's just hard to see the biggest fights get done on a regular basis in today's sport. But, you know, technically, because that fight could technically be bigger a year from now, 2 years from now. Ryan hasn't even fought in a title fight yet. You know, he's still building his name, and Tank is rounding out obviously into one of the biggest draws in the sport. So, but I think that I know that pretty much Tank's side wants that fight done. You know, they know their guy's seasoned, they know their guy's in his prime, and they know the other kid is dangerous, but green compared to Tank. And the timing of this fight favors Gervonta, and you're better off getting Ryan in there now than having to fight him at 140 pounds 2 years from now where he's more comfortable and more seasoned. It's a big commercial fight. So get the kid in the ring now and get him out and win the fight if you're Tank. So I know their game. I'm not so sure De La Hoya is going to be game to put his kid in there in a fight where he's going to be an underdog, in a fight where not only are you an underdog, but if you fight Tank Davis, you're expected to lose by knockout. So we'll see. Brian has a puncher's chance in that fight. He's basically just as fast as Tank, and he can punch for punch. It's a toss up who hits harder. I think Tank has. I think they can both punch. I think Tank has more two-fisted power, and Ryan's more of a get you with the left hook guy. But Brian has size on Tank to kind of maybe equalize the gap in experience and level of opposition. So we'll see if we get that fight. Let's see here. That trilogy will happen between Joshua and Ruiz, maybe at some point. I don't see why not. Disappointed this fight is pay-per-view. I like both guys, but this would not be pay-per-view 10 years ago. Yeah, I think you're right. I guess in the good old days, the HBO and Showtime. Showtime's still around, still doing a good job. But I guess in the glory days, this would definitely be an HBO World Championship boxing main event. I mean, David Tua, Ikabe Ibuchi was on Boxing After Dark. Vladimir Klitschko fought Layman Brewster on World Championship Boxing. Vladimir Klitschko fought Sam Peter on Boxing After Dark. So this is kind of one of those fights. I think Lennox Lewis fought Oliver McCall twice on HBO World Championship Boxing. So back in the good old days, this would not be a pay-per-view fight, but we're in an era where it is a pay-per-view fight. So order the show. It's been a good card. Rayo Valenzuela got upset in the first fight of the night by the Dominicans are on fire. De Los Santos from the Dominican Republic, 15 wins, 14 knockouts, only one loss. He comes in and shocks Rayo Valenzuela, who's always in an exciting fight. He can punch, but his defense is so leaky, and it really cost him tonight. Then Abner Maris gave us 3 vintage rounds where he looked like the borderline Hall of Famer he was in his prime, and then faded after that and did enough to get a draw. And then Isaac Cruz does what he always does on pay-per-view undercards, and that's show out, come out throwing heat and getting a knockout for the crowd. So it's been a good night of action, and now we round into the main event, which I definitely think will deliver because their style should make for a good fight. Let's see. Wizard of the Crystal, peace, Sean. Salute, peace to you too, man. Thank you guys for checking this out. Hope you can write this pay-per-view off on your taxes. I believe we can, actually. I believe so. So, what else we got? Yeah, we're just killing a little time, filling air time before we get to main event time. King Kong Ortiz warming up in the dressing room. Trunks are white with blue trim, blue font, white Everlast gloves tonight. Of course, with that California red duct tape around the gloves. And Andy Ruiz tonight wearing Ukrainian colors. That's got to be in tribute to the Ukraine, wearing blue and yellow, the colors of the Ukrainian flag tonight. OnlyFans sponsored, and also wearing Everlast. So Everlast definitely big in the game. Andy Ruiz's son in the locker room gives a peace sign, got his chain. I actually think his son looks like David Benavidez when David Benavidez was young in his age. So Cali Kings, who's winning? Main event hasn't started yet, brother. I'll definitely be doing down the middle, round by round throughout. I think you guys that tune in, we score these fights extremely fair and unbiased. So be on the lookout, Cali Kings. The fight is in your state tonight down there at we still call it the Staples Center. It's the Crypto.com arena technically, but it'll always be the Staples Center. Pitbull got robbed against Tank. Yeah, I don't think so. I think Tank did enough with his right hand. I know he broke his left that fight. I think he did enough scoring and moving off the ropes to win that fight, but it was a close fight, and it was Tank's closest fight to date, for sure. It was definitely Tank's closest fight to date. And we all thought Cruz, with his aggressive style coming in, was going to get bombed out by an uppercut at some point, and that never happened. And Cruz solidified himself that night as a real contender and a top 10 lightweight. And ever since then, the win is aging well for Tank. He blows out an old Gamboa, but he blew out Gamboa in a way that Tank and Devin didn't. And tonight, he keeps the momentum going. So let's see here. Suli Velasco, can you put your camera angle towards the screen? I cannot, my friend. We cannot show the fight. That'll get us in big trouble with the channel, obviously, with Fox. So, but I call the fight like it's the radio days, calling all the shots, calling all the action. So I'll make it as vivid as I can for you guys tuning in tonight. Carlton Penn says, what do you think about Frank Sanchez? I think Frank Sanchez is a problem, man. I think he's a guy that can ruin money in the division. Wilder, Fury, Joshua, Usyk, even some of the Brits like a Joe Joyce, they bring money to the division, and Sanchez doesn't have a fan base, and all he'll do is win. He's along with Usyk, behind Usyk and Fury, because they've proven themselves at the elite level where he hasn't gotten his opportunity yet. Behind those two, I think he's the best pure boxer in the heavyweight division, Frank Sanchez. Fast hands, has coordination like a middleweight or a welterweight. He can do moves that they do. He can move for 10 to 12 rounds. Not a puncher in the heavyweight division, but anybody in the heavyweight division sitting down on shots can hurt you. So I think Frank Sanchez is 100% a contender, not a pretender. The question is, will he be able to hold up durability-wise to bigger guys in the division? He has good defense. We haven't really seen his chin yet and how he holds up to taking body shots, how he holds up when guys do crack his defense a little bit. He's got to take heavy shots. We haven't seen that. And we don't know if, like Lara in the Canelo fight, if he'll step it up to not just be competitive in a big championship fight, Vegas type fight, but if he'll do enough taking chances and letting his hands go to get the job done and get a decision. So because sometimes those pure Cuban boxers, it's tough to get a close decision fighting that style. But I think Frank Sanchez is 100% a problem. He could fuck up a lot of money in the division for Wilder, Fury, Usyk. He's a potential upset alert for any of them. Jared Anderson is next up. I have no doubt about that. Frank Sanchez versus Flip Hrgovic. I think Sanchez takes care of him. I think Jared Anderson would beat Flip Hrgovic right now, even with his inexperience. What do I think of Canelo not fighting other Mexicans? I guess I have a question for Canelo now. When I see him next week, not next week, 2 weeks from now, when he comes to Vegas for Triple G3, I gotta ask him: do you consider David Benavidez a Mexican? Because does he fall underneath that distinction, Canelo? Because if he does, now I do have a problem. If he doesn't want to fight Zurdo, I don't have to die on that hill. I think it's weak if you don't want to either rematch Bivol, even if he loses, or fight Zurdo. That's a little weak because you like to hear from your pound for pound champion that willingness to take on King Kong and all comers. But it's really the Benavidez fight that would deserve criticism. Canelo's little. I was in San Diego a couple days ago earlier in the week for his Triple G workout. He looked very good. He looked fast. And he looked a lot more natural training to be a 168 pounder. I was like, this guy is little, man. And it really dawned on me how much he's not a light heavyweight, seeing him back down at 168, getting ready for a Triple G. So if he's not willing to fight Benavidez at 68, if he considers him Mexican, I think he deserves a lot of flack because Canelo Benavidez might be the best action fight in boxing, certainly top 5 pound for pound action fights you can make in boxing. Benavidez is half Ecuadorian and half Mexican American. Does he consider a Mexican / Ecuadorian American a quote unquote Mexican fighter? That's a question I guess I got to ask him. I don't think he'll really want me to ask him. He's tired of hearing of David Benavidez. And to a degree, I understand why, because his destinations are pretty plotted on the DAZN side of things for the next 12 months or so. He's fighting Golovkin a third time. And if Bivol wins a rematch, he's already said he's taking that fight next May. So his course is already plotted for the foreseeable future. So I get it. It's like, why even talk about this fight? But I think you guys watching would agree it's the best fight at 168 pounds. It has potential to be Morales Barrera at super middleweight, so kind of like Ariola Ruiz was like a Morales Barrera, at a much lower, well, not much lower, but at a lower skill level at heavyweight. We kind of got that great Mexican fight at heavyweight. We would get it at 168 if Canelo wants to give it to us. We don't know if he considers Benavidez Mexican. Let's see here. Who wants the link for Luis Ortiz? Yeah, drop it if you got it. Real talk. Ryan and Tank stop Cruz. Well, let's give Cruz some respect. He did fight Tank and not get to stop. Javier Sanchez, Sean, what's your thoughts on Frank Sanchez fighting Big Baby? I think that's where experience would come into play and be a disadvantage for Big Baby. I think Big Baby will round into a more dangerous heavyweight than Sanchez is, but Sanchez is in his prime, extremely experienced, and Jared's still learning. He's still green at 12 fights. He had a good amateur career, but not the amateur career Sanchez had. So, I'd be willing to put Jared in there with Flip Hrgovic right now. I feel confident putting him in that fight. I wouldn't put him in with Frank Sanchez yet. Let's see. Bobby Hill versus Ash Ketchum. I got to go with Ash, seeing as how he can summon 8-foot-tall fire-breathing dragons out of little balls. I got to go with Ash. I think Bobby's kind of fucked once a Charizard appears. But that's different fantasy fights. Going to keep it boxing, but not a bad fantasy matchup. Let's see. Frank Martin Pitbull would be interesting. It would. Martin, bigger guy. Maybe not bigger, but taller guy, more athletic, rangy, but needs some extension. Southpaw needs some extension on his left hand. Likes to have some room to operate, and Cruz doesn't like to give you that room to operate. So it'd be a really good style matchup. Both guys are punchers. They, not one punch guys, but good punchers in the lightweight division. Good style matchup. Martin more rangy, taller, a little more athletic. Though Cruz isn't slow, he's got explosiveness on his side too. That fight comes down to distance. If Martin can establish his range, he can win that fight. But if he can't keep Cruz off of him, he's in for a long night. Richard said, "What's up, Richard? Can Haney actually beat Loma?" Haney definitely beats Lomachenko, in my opinion. I don't understand. I get it. Lomachenko is a future Hall of Famer. Lomachenko is in this era is a great fighter. I think the hyperbole when Bob Arum would compare him to Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard was too much, but he is a Hall of Famer. But here's the thing, guys. Like, Devin is a long, 5'9.5" with long arms, a long lightweight who's gonna be a welterweight, no doubt about it. Might even be a 154-pounder when it's all said and done. Probably will be. I'd put money on it happening. So you got a guy who started at featherweight, who's about to be 35 and has had injuries, versus a kid who's 23, 24, ascending, is bigger, younger, longer. One guy's going here and the other guy's going here. It's a fight like Andy Ruiz tonight, 10 years of youth on his side, and it's a fight Devin should win. And I'm very confident that he would win that fight. I think if people take a step back and not get caught up in the reputation of Lomachenko, which, he's deserved largely, he's a great fighter in his era, they'd realize it's a kid who's going to be a welterweight against a guy who used to be a featherweight. It's an older aging guy against a younger ascending guy. Why shouldn't Haney be the favorite? If they fight, he will be, unless for some reason he doesn't look good against Kambosos, but he'll look good. And then Lomachenko's got his fight with Jermaine Ortiz. That's a good fight. And I hope they mix it up after Kambosos, because Lomachenko would solidify Haney's reign at lightweight. He definitely went and got the belts, but that Lomachenko title defense would be a nice solidify it, cement what you did at 35 before you move on up. So let's see here. Jay Styles, Haney's the most underrated champion right now, and I don't know why. Well, he won off the jab his last fight. I think people want to see him open up, and I think they'll see that in the rematch. He won off the jab the first fight, slipped in a couple uppercuts, couple right hands, but I think people will be more impressed by the rematch. I think Devin's going to build off of that, and behind the jab, put together a couple more combinations, walk Kambosos into some heavier eye-catching shots with the right hand, throw the uppercut a little bit more. I just think you're going to see more of an arsenal expanded upon in that rematch for Haney, and it'll open some eyes. So yeah, that's my answer to that. Haney doesn't have power to keep Loma away from him. Loma has better footwork and timing to get inside and hurt him. I got to respectfully disagree. I think Loma wins. Well, I get it. I appreciate your comment too, Richard. But, but Devin has good footwork too. And Teofimo was able to match Lomachenko's athleticism. And I think that gives Lomachenko a problem. When you have good feet yourself and good athleticism, he can't just keep stepping to the outside of that lead foot and getting to that angle he likes over and over again. Those guys step and pivot with him. And that's the beginning of the game planning for him. And then also you need a busy jab like Teo did. Teo landed less than, I think, like 10% of his jabs, but he was busy with it. He kept his hands in Lomachenko's vision. So Loma couldn't just, do his sauce. He couldn't just feint, pivot to the side, feint, pivot to the side, whack. He feint, and be met with two jabs, even if they were rangefinders, just to keep him occupied. Then he'd do his little pivot, and Teo would pivot with him. Same thing with Devin. And then Devin's length is going to be a motherfucker, man. Lomachenko has short arms, and Lomachenko doesn't fight going backwards. Lomachenko is off left, right, great side-to-side movement, in. Side-to-side movement, in. He's not going to step back, and make you miss and make you pay with counters on the back foot. So you got a shorter, smaller guy constantly coming in against Devin. Think he's going to eat a lot coming in. And at long range, he's at a disadvantage there. Like you said, he's got to step over and get on the inside with his footwork. And I think we're underestimating Haney's athleticism and ability to pivot with Lomachenko there. This is a younger, bigger guy, man. He's gonna win that fight, in my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see if we even see it. Joshua White too. I think Joshua wins that fight. I think Joshua is still a threat in the division. He's still a threat for these guys. So, what does Devin Haney do when he beats up George again? It sounds like the Lomachenko fight's the most realistic fight. I think that's a good fight. It's a good legacy fight. It solidifies him at lightweight. So I'm good with that. I think I think we're kind of headed towards Haney and Tank becoming like Crawford and Spence at 35, where there's other fights the guys are going to take for the next handful of years in the division. But the fight that people are going to eventually really want and boil down to is going to be those two at 40, because Devin, I think whoever he fights after Kambosos is a good chance that'll be his last fight. Whatever that title defense is after the Kambosos rematch, he'll probably move up. He's a big lightweight. All right, guys, almost ready to get going. King Kong Ortiz is set to make his ring walk now. Man came into the arena tonight holding all three children's hands and his wife. Lovable, big kind of teddy bear guy, one of those big men, one of those big guys that is big and looks like he could be mean and you'd be afraid of him, but once you talk to him, is like a big teddy bear, big lovable guy, very kind-hearted guy. Luis Ortiz touched a lot of people's hearts when his daughter was sick and he had to make big money in heavyweight championship boxing to take care of his family. He's been able to do that, and now he's collecting big checks and big fights in a big style matchup. The most notable Cuban heavyweight versus Mexican/Mexican-American Ruiz Chicano fight we've ever had. Never had a big Cuban versus Mexican fight in the heavyweight division. This should be exciting. You know, the counterpuncher with power, Ortiz, against the aggressive combination puncher, the aggressive, intelligent pressure with fast hands and combinations of Andy Ruiz. So this one should be good for as long as it lasts. I don't think we're going 12 tonight, but we didn't think that with Chris Arreola either. And I favor Ruiz tonight, and so does the books at Las Vegas, but Ruiz was a big favorite over Arreola and almost got knocked out in that fight early. So we'll see. What's the rumors on the Crawford Spence being held up? I mean, it's all speculation at this point. The only people really know what's going on. I'm sure there's some people in the business, but for the most part, that's between Crawford, Spence, their people, the PBC. That's who knows what's going on. My gut tells me we're going to get the fight. So, but I don't really have any news for you guys. But my gut, I believe that, yeah, we get the fight in November. What weight is that at? Dude, the shocker of the night for me was Ryo getting stopped. Yeah. Yeah, me too. It was fun, though. At least it was fun to watch. He's definitely got a fun style, win or lose. Let's see here. Here comes Ortiz. Yep. Okay, now here comes Andy Ruiz. Got his son in front of him. New trainer with him. I don't remember his name. I just had it on the tip of my tongue. But Jorge Capetillo alongside him as well, who works in the corner of heavyweight champion Tyson Fury. Andy Ruiz getting wrapped to the ring. Again, Chicano, American. Not coming out with the mariachis. No Vicente Fernandez. No El Rey. No me se rajar. None of that stuff tonight. Coming out with the rapper. Don't know the kid. Don't know the kid rapping, but little bit of a struggle getting. Oh wow, looks like someone tried to jump in Andy Ruiz's way for his ring walk, and the red suit security had to get this guy out of the way. So, but Ruiz coming to the ring. He's drawn a good crowd tonight in LA. It looks like he's been able to get the crowd past 10,000. So, but a good crowd tonight for Andy Ruiz. former unified heavyweight champion of the world. Of course, he knocked out Anthony Joshua back in 2019, came in 15 pounds heavier for the rematch and got outboxed. Didn't get hurt, didn't get dropped really, but had a very subpar showing. It was clear he didn't bring the best out of himself for the rematch, was content with the big money and the fame he received and pulling off one of the biggest heavyweight upsets, but came back against Arreola, still didn't quite look himself. But I think tonight we do get I have a feeling, based on the body we've seen at the weigh-in and based on the things Ruiz has been saying in Fight Week, I do feel like, and his media workouts where he looked very sharp with his trainer Osuna. That's right. That's the last name of the last name of the trainer. I think tonight we get the Andy Ruiz we got in Madison Square Garden 3 years ago in 2019. I think we get vintage Ruiz tonight. Ortiz looking mean in the corner. Yep, both fighters in the corner. Jimmy Lennon set to make these instructions. Ruiz is going to sleep tonight, says Bobby Meadows. Okay, get it in on the chat now. You can't talk your shit after the fight. Who you got winning, Ruiz or Ortiz? I've got Ruiz winning tonight, but you know we call these things down the middle once bell rings. So King Kong beating on his chest, looking ready to go. A little bit of gray in the old man's hair. Andy Ruiz still looking young at 33 years old, young-faced. Never been hurt, or not never been hurt, but I mean hasn't taken a lot of punishment in his two decision losses. King Kong Ortiz, 2 knockout losses. You wonder how his punch resistance is going to be after those 2 knockouts to Wilder. Got dropped on a jab by Charles Martin earlier this year on New Year's Day. So we'll see if King Kong's punch resistance is there tonight. We know his positioning, his smarts, and his power. 28 knockouts and 33 victories for King Kong as he gets introduced right now by Jimmy Lennon. 2 losses, of course, the Deontay fights that most people felt he was winning, particularly the rematch where he was winning, where he was up 6 rounds to nothing before getting knocked out by one of the best right hands you'll see. Lennon busting out the pipes, finishing up this introduction for King Kong. He beats the chest, looking ready to fight. There is no fear in King Kong Ortiz. Andy Ruiz, his father behind him, trainer Osuna behind him, Jorge Capatillo, and his son to the right of him. The son, to me, looks like a young David Benavidez. All right. Julio Moran, I have $500. I'm assuming it's Ruiz. Richard Boone says Ortiz, let's go. Roberto Reyes, Ortiz by knockout. Troy Hancock, Ruiz by knockout in the 6th. That Ortiz reach is going to be a huge factor, says Bobby Meadows. Saint CJ, it's not going past the 9th. That's what Vegas has the over-under on, 9.5 rounds. I'm with you. I think it's the under. This should be fun, guys. This should be fun. Expect me to call a lot of action. So I think from what I've seen from Ruiz, here they come to the center of the ring for the referee instructions. I think Ruiz, what we can expect, guys, is going to be putting on intelligent pressure, hands up, moving his head, starting with the jab, and expecting something to come back. He's going to start with the jab, expect to have to catch and shoot back and win those exchanges with his better hand speed. He'll have to get the timing down of Ortiz's counters because speed starts to pay off for Ruiz and for a guy. Once both guys kind of have an equal timing against each other, that's where speed matters. Your speed can't work for you if the other guy's got your timing down, but you don't have his down. Once both fighters have a good timing and for each other's rhythm, that's where hand speed becomes an advantage again for whoever's got it. So for Ruiz to do that, he's going to have to keep it. He's going to have to be on his P's and Q's defensively, expect something coming back throughout the night. So, and I saw him do that in his media workouts, but now it's the real show. It's not a media workout. Ruiz does look big. Of course, that's nothing new. But, you know, lately before his fights, there's always hype about his physique. He is big and soft. All right, here we go. Round 1. Ortiz versus Andy Ruiz. 2 big men. Counterpuncher from Cuba, versus the combination punching of the Mexican-American Andy Ruiz. And it's actually Ortiz starting out on the front foot a little bit in that southpaw stance, center ring action. And Ortiz took a couple of steps to Ruiz, let his lead hand go, but no punches landed just yet, 30 seconds into this first round. Ruiz taking little steps over to his right. Good counter by Andy Ruiz as Luis Ortiz tried to reach with a jab to the body, and Ortiz shot off a straight right hand left hook to the head. Partially landed there for Andy Ruiz. Center ring for both guys. Ortiz taking little baby steps to Ruiz, making Andy Ruiz step to his right now. Ruiz hands up high, stepping over to his left now. Feint from Ruiz. Shoots the right hand off the feint, and Ortiz gets his hands up to block it, nods his head. Starting off as a boxing match here in round one. Ruiz not starting with the pressure, actually starting off boxing, stepping over to his right, and makes Ortiz fall short with a straight left hand to his chest. Ruiz comes in with a jab, misses the right hand to the body. Ortiz using that lead hand to keep him off. Double jab from Ortiz, falls short. Now he jabs to the body. Ruiz taking a little half steps back, now little half steps to his right. Ortiz stepping to him. Now Ruiz comes in, feints, and Ortiz just off with a straight left hand. Slow first round. CompuBox has Andy Ruiz landing 3 punches to 0 for Luis Ortiz, who just shot off a 1-2, but it fell short. Ruiz using his defense to get a hand up to block it and make it fall short. Now Ruiz stepping forward. Ruiz misses with a 3-punch combination as Ortiz ducks his head below. It was a 1-2-3 by Ruiz. He loves that combination. 1-2-3, throws it fast, knows how to come back with that left hook. That's how he hurt Joshua when he won the title. Good right hand to the body off Andy Ruiz as he steps in off his lead left hand. Center of the ring, both guys. Neither guy's getting driven to the ropes. Oh, good little short cuffing right hook by Luis Ortiz, his first shot of the fight. Time to Ruiz stepping in with a jab and cuffed him with a right hook. 20 seconds left in the first round. I think Ruiz has a slight advantage here. Now Ruiz starts with a lead left hook. Ortiz complains that it hit him in the elbow. Oh, big left hand by Luis Ortiz. Best punch of the round. Ortiz lining up Ruiz with a nice 1-2. Straight left hand landed on the money, definitely. And now a right hook left hand for Luis Ortiz. And he just misses with a right hook near the bell. And I think Ortiz steals that round with that straight left hand with about 20 seconds left. Beautiful 1-2 down the pipe by Luis Ortiz. Ruiz had done a good job on the outside. Neither guy landed much. It was a good jab by Andy Ruiz. And Ortiz countered it with a 1-2-1. He let go of his right hand, left hand, and then a right hand behind it. Good 3-punch combination. Or no, it was actually, a 2-1-2. Ortiz ate a jab on the replay, but then he comes back with a straight left hand that fell short, but then he pops him with the 1-2 right after that straight left hand. Good 2-piece for Luis Ortiz to go up 10-9 in this first round. Yep. Stick to the Yankees. They're not playing that great, Joe Cruz. I'm gonna watch the fight. The Yankees have been sucking lately. All right, heading into round 2. Of course, Ortiz's family, nervous ringside, wife a nervous wreck, but her man won that first round off that straight left hand. Round 2 now. Here we go. Ortiz stepping in with a jab and a left hand to the body. Good left hand to the body for Ortiz to start round 2. Oh, Ortiz landing a big right hook on Andy Ruiz. Longer arms. They both got off with sweeping shots. That was a hard right hook by King Kong Ortiz, and Ruiz has to cut the distance. He's punching from too far out, a distance that favors Luis Ortiz right now. He's got to cut the distance a little bit, but he's wary of the power. Doesn't want to put his hands up and start trying to walk Ortiz down. Those 28 knockouts in 33 fights have the respect of Andy Ruiz. So decent first 50 seconds for King Kong because of that right hook. Now Ortiz starting with the lead jab, throws 3 of them, lands 1 of them. Good 1-2 to the body by King Kong Ortiz. Andy stepping in a little bit here. Got to get closer. Lots of jiggle. In fact, right hand drops King Kong Ortiz. The punch resistance. I told you guys before the fight. The minute Ortiz ate a shot, he went down. Straight right hand has dropped Ortiz. He dropped like a guy who can't take punches anymore. Ortiz it almost looks a little shocked that his body reacted that way to being hit by a right hand. Ortiz's legs not underneath him. He goes down again. It wasn't even a clean shot landed, just in a right hand that partially landed. Ortiz got his hands up, but it was enough to drop him for the second time in the second round here. Ortiz doesn't look like he has any punch resistance. Let's see if Ruiz can get him out of here. Right hand, left hand lands for Ruiz. Ortiz holding. Combinations by Ruiz. Ruiz with fast hands explodes in the clinch. Ortiz able to tie him up again, though. 1 minute left in the second. Let's see if Ruiz gets him out of here. Ruiz sweeping a right hand, gets caught with a left. Ruiz coming in for the kill, got caught with a sweeping left hand from Ortiz. Ruiz landing a right hand. They're both opening up. Someone's going to get hurt. Ortiz on shaky legs, but lands a big straight left hand on Andy Ruiz. Ruiz showing the better whiskers. But man, Ruiz can't afford to just be getting lined up with left hands like that. Ortiz measuring with the lead hand. Ruiz trying to walk in, trying to measure his right hand. Sweeps it, but Ortiz getting his hands up to block and falls into a clinch. 20 seconds left. Ortiz off with a big left hand. Ruiz explodes in the clinch with a right hand left hook. 10 seconds left. Straight right for Ortiz, or straight right for Ruiz, but a straight left for Ortiz. They trade perfect shots there. And that's it for the second round. With the two knockdowns, 19-17 advantage, 2-point lead for Andy Ruiz. Ortiz won the first, but he goes down on the first good right hand he took, and the way he went down was like an older fighter whose chin isn't the same after being knocked out a couple times. But Ortiz showing big heart, says not so fast, not going out like that. I ain't going out like that. And he landed two hard left hands when Ruiz tried to come in for the kill. Woo! Good second round. Man, hope you guys are enjoying it at home. All right, man. Waiting for this third round to start. 19-17. Ortiz down twice, but he walked Ruiz into two left hands after that. Tough, still a tough fight for Andy Ruiz, despite almost stopping this guy. This guy still has power and still knows how to line you up with those southpaw left hands. Ruiz has to be smart about this or he could get knocked out. All right, third round starts. Ortiz not backing off. He starts the round with his jab. Stepping towards Ruiz. Still, did not how I expected this fight to play it off. I thought it would be Ortiz holding his ground, taking little half steps back, counterpunching, and Ruiz putting the intelligent Mexican pressure on. But Ruiz has been forced to fight on the outside tonight, and he's gotten those two knockdowns, but he's eaten a lot of shots on the outside from King Kong Ortiz. But he's shown a good chin tonight, Andy Ruiz. He always does. Ruiz backing off, stepping over to his right, not engaging to start the third round. And Ortiz taking little steps, trying to get that angle as he steps forward. Ortiz shooting a straight left to the body. Fight taking place in the center of the ring. Neither guy getting driven back to the ropes. Good jab for Ortiz. Shoots the jab over Ruiz's left jab. Now he shoots another jab. Two good jabs by Luis Ortiz in the center of the ring. Ortiz shooting another jab off. Ruiz content to stay on the outside with the longer arms of Ortiz, trying to set something up, trying to pick his spot to step in with a big right hand. This is kind of the fight he had to fight against Arreola as well, who sharpshooted him from the outside a few times. Good straight right hand to the body by Andy Ruiz on the outside. Now Ruiz starts with a lead left hook. Ortiz gets that hands up to block. Ruiz stepping forward now. Ortiz steps over to his right, feints, trying to set something up. Now Ruiz steps back. Guys circle each other in the center of the ring. A little over a minute left in the third round. King Kong was down twice in the second round. Minute left in the third. Not a lot to choose from so far. Ruiz trying to step in with a right hand, but Ortiz gets his hands up to block it. Good right hand to the body by Andy Ruiz on the outside. Good jab by Andy Ruiz on the outside now. Ortiz step into Ruiz. He's been the guy on the front foot tonight more than Ruiz has. That's been a little surprising. Ortiz stepping forward behind his jab, popping it from his hip. Pops it from his hip again, shoots a straight left to the body, but a little dangerously falling in with that straight left to the body was Ortiz. Ruiz trying to fall in with a straight right hand, but he misses. Falls into the clinch, 20 seconds left. Not a big round for either fighter. 15 seconds left. Ortiz pawing with the lead jab, steps forward, shoots the jab. Ruiz getting his hands up to block it. 10 seconds left in the round. Ruiz stepping to his right, but not letting anything go. Slow third round. Slow and close third round. I may give the edge to Ortiz, but it really wasn't that much to pick from. He popped a few jabs in Ruiz's face. Here's the replay. And they show a good, maybe the best punch of the round, though, was that right hand to the body by Andy Ruiz on the outside. Snapped it in there. Kind of like you saw Roy Jones do against Antonio Tarver in their first fight. On the outside and throwing a right hand to the body. So, but close third round, though. He did eat some jabs. Wasn't active. So a close third round. Good commentating by Kyle Korver. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Sound like they're both recovering from the second round. Yep. Amir, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Thank you, Jimmy John, Ashton Kutcher's cousin in the house. Thank you. All right. Fourth round coming up now. This fight is either 28-27 Ruiz or 29-26 Ruiz, depending how you scored that third round. There wasn't really that much to choose from. Ortiz pelted him with the jab a couple times, and Ruiz got in the best shot of the round, the right hand to the body. But here we are in the fourth now, and King Kong short with a 1-2 as he steps in. King Kong shooting a jab to the body. He's falling in a little bit dangerously when he reaches to the body on the outside here. But Ruiz not known as a big counterpuncher on the outside, more mid-range and closer. Ruiz shooting a jab to the body. 30 seconds into the fourth. Slow pace here in the fourth round to start. Both guys circling around in the center of the ring. King Kong, taller, stepping forward, making Ruiz step to his right. Now Ruiz a little bit close to the ropes as Ortiz backs him up. Now he steps forward back into the center of the ring. Ruiz stepping in now with his jab. Ortiz times him with his own jab. Ruiz puts the hands up, couple of feints. Hasn't taken too many risks since getting those 2 knockdowns. Ortiz earned his respect by walking him into a couple of left hands. And this is also what Ruiz had to do against Chris Arioli. He wound up fighting in spurts because Chris hurt him with a right hand and dropped him early and got his respect. Ortiz is dangerous. Got Ruiz's respect. Now Ruiz steps in with a right hand to the body, and Ortiz didn't like that right hand to the body. Jab knocks the sweat off of Ortiz's head off. Ruiz trying to follow up with combinations, and Ortiz moving his head out of the way. Good left hook to the body by Ruiz. Getting a little bit of body work done here in the last 10, 15 seconds. Ortiz getting Ruiz to the ropes. Slow right hook, but the jab lands. Lifts Ruiz's head up. Ortiz's age showing up a little bit here. Not able to pull the trigger quite as much as he'd want to. Minute left in the fourth. I think Ruiz a little bit ahead in this round with those body shots he landed midway through this fourth. Also had a good jab that knocked the sweat off of Ortiz's head. Now Ruiz tries to step in with a right hand left hook, and Ortiz able to get off the ropes cleanly and pops his jab a couple of times. Ortiz shooting a straight left to the body on the outside. Lands, not a lot of power on it. Ortiz pawing with the jab, steps in with a straight left. Ruiz taking a step back. Ruiz, again, not letting his hands go a lot here in the fourth round, guys. Close fourth round. Back-to-back slow rounds here. 15 seconds left in the fourth. After an exciting second round, we get a couple of slow rounds here. 10 seconds left. Ortiz with the jab to the body. Ruiz trying to maybe set him up here. Good jab by Ruiz there. Yeah, that jab by Ruiz knocked the sweat off of Ortiz's head. I think Ruiz did enough to win that fourth round. Not impressive, but landed a couple of hard body shots midway through and two jabs that knocked the sweat off of Luis Ortiz's head for the round. So round four to Andy, either 2-2 or 3-1 Ruiz. He's definitely got the lead with those two knockdowns right now. It's either 38-36 or 39-35 Andy Ruiz. Ortiz definitely has some ground to make up with those knockdowns. You feel like you're watching Drake and Josh? Tell me about it. Killing it with the commentary. Thank you, sir. Yeah, and not a lot of action those last two rounds to call. Trust me, I'm not missing any shots. That's why even when there's dead space, I'll tell you guys what they're doing with their feet if they're not doing anything with their hands. All right, round five now. Ortiz starting with a right hand to the body on the outside. Good jab by Luis Ortiz. Pops Andy Ruiz's head up. 10 seconds here into the fifth. Ortiz, again, he's the guy on the front foot tonight. Tries to land in a straight left hand there, step into it. Just a little bit short with it. Pops his jab twice. Coming on the front foot is Ortiz. Maybe Ruiz wants to play counterpuncher here and walk him into something. He tries a check hook, but it doesn't land. The Fox Sports crew has this 39-35 Ruiz. I agree. I could see 38-36 Ruiz if you gave the third to King Kong. But he's definitely a good right hand to the body by Andy Ruiz. Steps in there, throwing a little touch jab to set up that right hand to the body. Good jab by Andy Ruiz on the outside. Shot that one shotgun jab through the guard of Luis Ortiz. Ortiz picks his left foot up, takes a step forward, shoots a 1-2 to the body. Shoots another straight left to the body from a jab off the head. Game of distance here. Ortiz doesn't want to fall in with his shots, but he's got a guy in front of him who's not probably fighting him the way he quite expected. Ruiz being timid here, not taking a lot of chances, trying to counter Ortiz, and almost did counter Ortiz with a big sweeping right hand there. Ortiz looks like he's a little shaken up from that counter right hand by Andy Ruiz. Ruiz kind of trying to outbox the boxer here and having some success doing it. Now Ruiz shoots a straight right hand through the center of the guard. Ruiz feigning with his lead hand, stepping forward, gets his head off the line from a straight left of Ortiz, closing the distance a little bit here, but Ortiz backs him off with a jab. Now Ruiz gets his feet right back in there. Ruiz in a little closer, but then he backs out. King Kong short with the jab as Ruiz backs out. King Kong, a little frustrated, nods his head at Ruiz like, hey, come on. I thought this isn't quite what I signed up for. I'm the one going after you here. Oh, good combination by King Kong Ortiz. Ruiz trying to sit on a counter right hand to the body, but he ate a good right hook up top as he tried to drop one into the body there. King Kong, the more active guy this round. Being the guy on the front foot, showing more initiative. 20 seconds left in the fifth. Ruiz, a little timid in there, not really taking chances since getting those two knockdowns in the second round. Not being the action fight we expected right now outside of that second round. 10 seconds left, and Ruiz not letting his hands go. Ortiz off with a 1-2, and he eats a right hand, kind of having to fight out of his element there. Close fifth round. Ruiz did land a couple of good counter shots, and even though part of you wants to give the round to Ortiz for showing more initiative, he was on the front foot. He was a little more active, tried to make the fight happen, but he did walk into the best punch of the round, which was a sweeping right hand from Andy Ruiz. Ruiz is ahead in this fight comfortably right now. King Kong knocked down twice. Andy Ruiz winning by a little. Ruiz is definitely backing up. Come get Psalm. You're my go-to for every fight, bro. Good looking out. You got it, man. Thank you guys for rocking with me for this fight. Let's see here. Deontay Wilder watching ringside. I know he wants King Kong Ortiz to win, but the bigger fight is with Andy Ruiz. That's a good barbecue pay-per-view that would do some good numbers with those two fan bases. All right, round 6. Will the action pick up? Ruiz, those 2 knockdowns, some of these rounds, there's not a whole lot to pick from. And like the 3rd round and the last round, the 5th, were close rounds where if you gave them to King Kong, you only got Ruiz up a point. So, maybe he won those rounds, maybe he didn't. Those were uneventful rounds. So, the scores could be a little bit around the place, but I think Ruiz is definitely ahead. Question is he ahead by 1 or 2 points? Or is he already ahead or by 4 or 5 points? Those weren't a whole lot of action, those rounds. Not a lot of action here in the 6th round. 40 seconds into it, and I got nothing to call for you guys. Both guys fighting in the center of the ring, feinting. Neither one opening up. Ortiz is the guy on the front foot. He falls short with his jab, just as I say that. Ortiz on the front foot. Ruiz shoots a straight right to the body and falls short. 31 total punches landed for both fighters through 6 rounds. That's about 6 punches a round for each guy landed. Not a lot of action. Ruiz, his back near the ropes. Ruiz just trying to counterpunch Ortiz, it seems like. And he does. Good, lands a short right hand. Ortiz tried to place a left hand, and he ate a short right hand, and he eats another short right hand. Ruiz able to punch inside of the distance, the longer left hand of King Kong Ortiz. Ruiz coming inside of it with his own right hand twice there. Ruiz winning the 6th round off those 2 right hands right now, halfway through it. So Ruiz, kind of surprising us here, beating King Kong on the outside when I expected him to be all about intelligent pressure tonight. Maybe he's waiting for the older man to wear down a little bit before he steps in there. He thought about going for the kill, and he walked into a couple of big left hands that made him think twice about it. Good straight right to the body by Ruiz on the outside. King Kong a little frustrated right now. Taking steps forward, which isn't his preferred style. He likes you to come to him. Ruiz not doing a lot this round, but those 2 right hands have him ahead. 40 seconds left in the 6th. Straight left to the body by King Kong is blocked. Then he loops a left hand up top, and it partially lands. Ruiz got his hand up, a part of it got in. 30 seconds left in the 6th. Ruiz steps over to his right, double jab, shoots a right hand. King Kong gets underneath it, left hook gets underneath it. Ruiz, again, winning this fight on the outside, surprisingly. Good straight left by King Kong, though. 10 seconds left. Good right hand by Ruiz on the outside. King Kong tries to answer back. Does get in the left hand, but didn't get full extension on it. And that's it for the 6th. I think Ruiz won that round really off those 2 right hands he landed on the inside. What happened there, King Kong, still has Ruiz at distance, so he thinks that's where he should have the advantage. But Ruiz, good job with distance, knew he was just an inch closer than King Kong really wanted him to be at on the outside. King Kong let go of 2 left hands, and both times Ruiz just an inch step in, sweeped his right hand and actually came inside of the left hand, whizzed right by his head, and he landed 2 short right hands in the 6th round to win that 6th round. So not super impressive by Andy Ruiz, but impressive in that he's outboxing Luis Ortiz and frustrating him in this fight. Let's see here. I'm a proud patriot. Okay. Good for you, my man. Ruiz has figured it out. He has to be more patient with Ortiz to make it easier. Yeah, and who knows? Now we're just now getting into the second half of the fight, round 7. It could be Ruiz's plan to wait out Ortiz a little bit, let the old man wear down, and then you turn up the aggression on him. He even said that this fight week. So, and now Ruiz is stepping in to start the 7th round. It's Ruiz on the front foot to start. Ruiz is on the front foot to start. Hasn't started the rounds this way. He's starting the 7th this way. Good right hand to the body by Andy Ruiz. He stepped in hard with that right hand. Fox has this fight close a little bit. 57-55 Ruiz. Fox gave the 5th and the 6th to Ortiz. I thought he may have won the 5th, but Ruiz won the 6th. But Ortiz has to make something happen here. Ruiz isn't impressive, but with his speed on the outside, he's a little bit of a step ahead. Landed a good right hand to the body earlier this round. Maybe he tries to bring the hook up top behind it next time he throws that right hand to the body. Ortiz back on the front foot now, taking little steps forward, shoots his jab, but Ortiz doesn't look comfortable getting off. Again, this isn't his preferred style. He wants you to come to him. And Ruiz is throwing him off here. Good counterpunch by Luis Ortiz, though. Andy trying that right hand to the body again, got his hands up for the counter, but still ate a left hand. Ortiz getting underneath the right hand, but eats two clubbing right hands on the side of his temple. Ruiz not throwing the straight right. He's sweeping the right hand. Good jab by Luis Ortiz as Ruiz backs out. Now Ruiz parries the jab. Ortiz getting him near the corner and shoots a right hook, but Ruiz gets underneath it. Less than a minute left in the seventh. Close round. Close round right now. 50 seconds left in the seventh. These haven't been action-filled rounds by any means outside of the second. 40 seconds left. Both guys feinting on the outside. Ortiz pawing with the jab to the body. Hard right hand lands for Andy Ruiz, and that knocks Ortiz back. You could see the sweat knock off of Ortiz's head, and it made him. Ortiz is hurt, and he eats a jab. Right hand drops Luis Ortiz. It's the sweeping right hands. Ruiz not throwing him down the pipe. He keeps sweeping it, and Ortiz goes down for the third time this fight off a right hand, swelling around the left eye from those right hands now. 10 seconds left in the seventh. Ortiz down for the third time. It's been the sweeping right hand on all three times. Ruiz walks into a left hand, trying to sweep the right hand again. So you got to stay careful, but 3 knockdowns for King Kong. He's been dropped 3 times. 3 knockdowns for Andy Ruiz. The family very emotional at ringside watching their man get dropped. Oh, it was a straight right hand. It was a straight right hand that hurt King Kong, knocked him halfway across the ring, knocked the sweat off. He stayed up, and then Andy followed up on it and sweeps the right hand, and that's what dropped him this time. Oh, yeah, beautiful. King Kong, not where he's most comfortable in the phone booth, got smothered after getting hit with a right hand. And Andy able to slip underneath the left hand on the inside near the clinch, and bam, nails King Kong with a sweeping right, knocked the sweat off his head and dropped him for a third time. All 3 knockdowns off right hands. Here we go into the 8th round. And King Kong in the territory now where he probably needs a knockout or a couple of knockdowns here. Can't just win these last 5 rounds and pull out a decision at this point with 3 knockdowns against him on the cards. Round 8 starting, and King Kong, again, swelling around that left eye now, but all heart from King Kong, no quit in him, coming forward behind his jab, not behaving like a fighter who just got dropped, behaving like a guy who still wants to land a big shot to turn this fight around. Andy knows he still has to be wary. Andy's showing a lot of intelligence and patience in this fight. People will fairly point to he was clearly in there with an older Ortiz who doesn't have the same punch resistance he once had. But Andy has surprised people tonight, I think, with his smarts and his patience. This is a different guy. This is a veteran now. Couple of good jabs for King Kong, and Andy tries to explode with that hand speed and combination, but Ortiz, with good enough timing, pelts him with a left hand to keep him calm, to keep him calm down. I'm not ready to get out of here just yet. Ruiz really tried to open up with combinations there and got tagged with a straight left by King Kong. Right hand to the body for Ruiz. Jab for Ruiz. He steps back out of range after landing it. Double jab for King Kong, but Ruiz keeping his hands up to block it. King Kong stepping forward. No quit in this Cuban warrior. But his age is showing up tonight with his punch resistance. King Kong trying to step in, he could pull the trigger there. Threw about 4 or 5 jabs. He saw the angle. He wanted to take it, but that was age showing up there. Didn't pull the trigger on that left hand, did King Kong. Now Andy sizing up with his left. Looks like he wants to shoot a right hand in here. Shoots it, falls short. Right hand to the body by Ruiz, though. Aimed it to the body that time and landed it. Ortiz just off with a counter left hand, though. Still dangerous. Ruiz stepping in with a hard right hand. Ortiz backs out away from it. Ortiz stepping in with his jab again. Jabbing from the hip all night long. Hasn't had too much success with it. 30 seconds left. Ruiz feinting with his lead. Eats a jab from Ortiz. Ortiz still taking those little steps forward, lands a straight left hand. But Ruiz backing away from that straight left hand, took some of the impact off of it. 10 seconds left in the 8th. Competitive round for Ortiz. Way to still stay in the fight after being dropped for the 3rd time that round. Competitive 8th round. Definitely touched up Andy Ruiz with a couple of straight lefts. Maybe he even did enough to maybe win it, but he did eat some right hands too. But actually, King Kong may have done enough to win that 8th round with those straight left hands. Ortiz isn't overrated. He's just too old. Yeah, he's old and being forced to fight out of his element here. He's not a guy that wants to fight on the front foot. He's better shooting off punches with his counter punches. That he's more active as a counter puncher than he is trying to create offense on the front foot. So Ruiz threw him for a loop tonight. Let's see. All right, 9th round coming up. This for those of you who bet the over-under tonight was 9.5 rounds. So let's see if the bookmakers had it right. The books thought this fight would end just underneath 9.5 rounds. We'll see. I get the feeling Ortiz will make it past that halfway mark of this round. Nope, never mind. He just got nailed with a right hand as he tried to land a left. Big right hand landed for Andy Ruiz that knocked the sweat off of King Kong's head. Ruiz going down, but it wasn't off a punch there. Ref wipes his gloves and gets him back. That was a big right hand. King Kong, to his credit, not backing off, tried to step in with a big left hand and got caught doing it. King Kong not on the best legs right now. Ortiz's legs not the best. Ruiz stepping forward, keeping his hands high, shoots a right hand through the center, and Ortiz clinches. Ortiz looking a little weary in there in the 9th round. You get the sense that Ruiz is just waiting for the right moment. He's tried it a couple of times, but the old man has been strong and savvy, has backed him off with a counter shot when he's needed to. But maybe it's any moment now for Ruiz. Almost halfway through the 9th round. Ortiz about to make it past the books where the bookmakers had him losing tonight. Ruiz not letting his hands go here, just content to stay on the outside and pick a spot, pick a moment. Oh, big right hand lands for Andy Ruiz. He's having consistent success with that on the outside right now. He's timing the right time when to throw it. He landed the right hand there. Fox has Ruiz up 76-73 after 8. I got this fight wider than that. Little over a minute left in the 9th. Again, Ruiz has landed a big right hand this round twice and is just really waiting on that right hand. Almost pop-shotting with it at this point. Just step into his right, step into his right, step into his right. King Kong gets Ruiz on the ropes, but Ruiz spins off. Back in the center of the ring. 50 seconds left. Ortiz got past that over-under. Right hand to the body lands for Ruiz. Straight right hand to the body it was. Now a straight left for King Kong, but not a lot of steam on that one. King Kong on the front foot. Good left hand for King Kong. Shoots a double jab, made Ruiz back up into a straight line and popped his head back with a left hand. But not a lot of power on that left hand. $20 seconds left. Ruiz not taking chances here. Ruiz not taking chances. 10 seconds left. Good jab by Ortiz. And after landing 2 right hands in the first minute of the ninth, Ruiz didn't do anything. And he got touched up by a couple of left hands, but not a lot of power on those left hands for King Kong. Ruiz is staying on the outside, and he's taking a lot of steam off of those shots. Now we go to the replays. Yep, sweeping right hand, dropped Ortiz in the second round. Then on the second knockdown, he didn't even really get hit with a clean shot. It was just Ruiz followed up, and Ortiz covered up and went to his knees again. Then in the eighth round, it was a right hand that dropped him again. So it was a right hand, all three knockdowns that did it. Seeing some El Gordo Ruiz fans in here. Ruiz better work. Let's see here. Better work on his power if he wants to fight Wilder. Yeah, man. I from what we're seeing, but Wilder remains the wild card in the division because we don't know what we got from the former WBC champ. We don't know what he's got, man. Look at King Kong tonight. Those two knockouts did something to him. Those two knockouts by Tyson Fury, you would think have done something to Wilder. But if Wilder's still the same Wilder, I'd favor him against the Andy Ruiz we're seeing tonight. CompuBox has Ruiz with a 58-54 connect advantage and punches landed tonight. But with those three knockdowns, that's really the difference in the fight right now. 10th round, and Ortiz continues to come forward. That left eye has been closing up these last couple rounds, but not nearly fully shut, just some swelling. And Ruiz has been fighting on the outside all night long. He's been the guy taking his steps to the right, taking his little steps to the left and backing up, mostly moving to his right. Just looking to kind of bait Ortiz into those right hands, making him step in an inch or two, a little too close to where it favors his distance and not Ortiz's. Ortiz short with a straight left. It's Ortiz trying to initiate most of the action. He's the one who's been on the front foot. But Ruiz, with his youth, his speed, and his smarts tonight, has just been a step ahead. And his punch resistance has been a big key. He's got a better chin at this point than Ortiz. He could take those straight lefts, but King Kong hasn't been able to take those rights. Oh, good left hand by King Kong. He did a nice little touch jab, and he swept the left hand around the guard of Ruiz. But Ruiz is taking these left hands well tonight. But with that left hand, King Kong is winning the 10th. Halfway through it. Good up jab by King Kong. It's been all up jab. He doesn't jab out of that high guard. He jabs from his hip. Good up jab again for King Kong, and he misses a straight left after that up jab. King Kong staying on top of Ruiz. Far from relentless pressure, but he's been taking his half steps forward all night. Good jab, pops Ruiz's head up. Ruiz eating the jab this round a couple of times. Not doing anything. Eats another jab. Double jab from Ortiz. Ortiz feints with the jab. Shoots it, lands it. Having a good jabbing round here. Ruiz just eating it. Staying on the outside. Maybe doesn't want to expend energy this round. Just looking for one right hand is Ruiz. That's it. King Kong keeps backing Ruiz up, excuse me. King Kong winning this 10th round. But even if he wins this round and the next two, I think that's a little too late. Ruiz finally steps in with the right hand, and King Kong gets that left up to block it. 10 seconds left. This is an Ortiz round. That's it for the 10th. I believe Fox only has Ruiz up 2 points. So technically on their card, if King Kong can win these last 2 rounds, he can salvage a draw. I think that's too generous on the Fox card. I think Ruiz is ahead to where King Kong at least needs a knockdown in one of these 2 rounds, maybe 2 knockdowns to get a draw. Swelling around his left eye still. Herman Cancelo taking care of that in the corner, but Sean, your commentary is better than the pay-per-view blogs. Do you really mean that, Rufus? I appreciate that, my friend. I hope so. Shout out to the great Lennox Lewis and Brian Kenny. But yeah, and Joe Goosen, but I do hope it's better. I'm not going to lie to you. CompuBox is all messed up, not giving Ortiz his landed counts. I disagree, Bobby. I feel they've been on the money. CompuBox is also bullshit sometimes, but they have the punches landed as even, which is what I think we've seen, but the 3 knockdowns make that a moot point. So, but Bobby Meadows, Fox, has this fight, I think, a little closer than I do. CompuBox has it 59 punches landed through 10 rounds for both fighters, completely even, but with the 3 knockdowns for Ruiz, clearly, in my eyes, he's comfortably ahead. But he did lose that 10th, and we're 25 seconds into the 11th, and hasn't done anything. Steps in with a straight right hand, and that did land. And Ortiz slow on the counter, not able to land his 2 counter shots they tried to time that right hand with. Good right hand for Ruiz. Now a little short left hook lands for Ruiz. On the outside, didn't step in fully to that left hook, just, a little quick one. Good jab lands from Ortiz. Not a lot of action there. 2 minutes left in the 11th. Fight definitely has taken a pattern. Ruiz content to stay on the outside, which people didn't expect from him, and just pick his spots, taking, with his right hand, just landing his right hand here or there, content to land 2 or 3 hard ones around, make Ortiz fall short with his punches, and, take the close rounds. Whoa, big right hand lands for Ruiz. Ortiz is hurt. Ruiz landing that straight right. Ortiz still up, but that shook his legs up badly. And that swelling is only getting worse. The left eye of Luis Ortiz is closing now from those right hands. Ortiz on shaky ground, but showing a lot of heart. Now he eats a lead left hand from Ruiz, knocks the sweat off. Straight right lands for Ruiz, but Ortiz still upright. Right hand to the body for Andy Ruiz. Ortiz showing heart, wants to land 1 big counter. But Ruiz is pelted. Another straight right lands for Andy Ruiz, and Ortiz forced to clinch. Ortiz blinking badly now. Can't see out of that left eye much. Tries to time Ruiz with some counters, but eats a sweeping right hand. 45 seconds left. 2 jabs from King Kong from the hip, but not a lot of steam on those punches. That left eye is just about completely shut now from those right hands by Andy Ruiz. 30 seconds left in the 11th. Good round for Andy Ruiz. He hasn't gotten away from what worked. It hasn't been the action fight people wanted, but he found something with his right hand on the outside, and he's outboxed Luis Ortiz tonight. Ruiz trying to land that straight right again. Falls short. King Kong lands his jab and nods his head. 10 seconds left. And that does it for the 11th. Right hand hurt Ortiz. Ortiz spits out blood, walking back to his corner. Eye is just about completely shut. The left eye. Let's see the replay here. Ruiz with a little touch, just a little feint, and a beautiful straight right hand. And Ortiz actually landed a nice counter right hook, but that punch resistance showing up. Ruiz took the counter right hook just fine to where you didn't even notice it in real time, but the straight right knocked the eyes up, knocked the eyes into the back of the head of Ortiz, and knocked the sweat off and had a big reaction. His body reacted to it. So you didn't even notice that Ruiz was hit with just as clean a shot, a hard right hook in the exchange. But Ruiz, better chin, 10 years younger, hasn't been knocked out twice by the fucking right hand of Deontay Wilder, and able to take the shot better. Ortiz needs a knockout here in the 12th. Don't see it happening. Ruiz has been able to take those left hands. Hasn't really been hurt badly by anything Ortiz has hit him with. So Ruiz definitely looks like he's on his way to a win. I'm not sure he's going to go for the knockout here, being that he still respects the power of Ortiz. Oh, left hook lands for... Oh, Ortiz taking his shot. Ortiz letting his hands go here on the front foot. Not content to just lose a decision. Big left uppercut by Ortiz lands, and then a straight left lands for Ortiz. Good combinations for Luis Ortiz to start the 12th. Ruiz bangs his gloves together to say, come on. Ooh, good counter right hook by Luis Ortiz as Ruiz tried to step in with that right hand. And you're seeing precisely why Ruiz has had so much respect on the outside tonight. Little over 2 minutes left in the final round. King Kong having a good 12th. Landed some hard shots this round. Can't see out of that left eye. Has been dropped 3 times, but he's all heart. Ruiz backing off, eating some jabs. 2 minutes left in the round. Ruiz or Ortiz with a nice left uppercut off the jab, and Ruiz nods his head after eating it. Ruiz really with a lot of respect for Ortiz tonight. He definitely respects the power and the positioning of the counterpunching of Luis Ortiz. Very wary of that. Hasn't tried to go for the knockout here in the 12th. Halfway through the 12th, shoots a straight right hand, but King Kong with the defense did not get hit by it. Halfway through the final round, King Kong looks like he still wants to take a few chances. Good left hand for King Kong off the touch jab. Another left hand for King Kong off the touch jab. Ruiz almost playing possum to try to walk him into one. Almost gave up those left hands to try to land a right hand. It didn't work. Good right hand for Ruiz. Minute left in the 12th. Ruiz touching with the jab, shoots a straight right. Ortiz gets his hands up to block it. Less than a minute left now. Ortiz diving in with his jab. Long right jab from the hip. The two fighters clinch. Ortiz shoots a left hand off the clinch. Tired, not a lot of steam off of it. Ruiz didn't like that, thought it was dirty. 40 seconds left. Looks like we're going the distance. Left hand lands for Ortiz. It was an uppercut. He's landed a few left uppercuts off his touch jab tonight. Good jab lands for Ortiz. Again, Ortiz has won this 12th. He won the 10th. Good jab again for Ortiz. Finishing strong. 20 seconds left. Good straight left hand by Luis Ortiz. Back to Ruiz into a corner with a right hook and moved him into position to be nailed by the straight left. 10 seconds left, though. It's going to be definitely too little too late for Luis Ortiz here in the 12th, but a good 12th round. All heart for King Kong. Got dropped 3 times, didn't care, kept coming forward, kept taking chances. But Ruiz, better punch resistance, and that does it. That's it after 12. Think either 7-5 or 8-4. Hell, even if you got it 6-6 with the 3 knockdowns, it doesn't matter. Ruiz wins this fight. Not the action fight we anticipated. Ruiz threw us all for a loop, threw me for a loop anyways. I think most of you guys would agree. I thought we were going to get the hands up, moving the head, keeping the guard high, intelligent pressure, cutting distance, that kind of Mexican style. He fought on the outside tonight, very respectful of the power, and he outboxed King Kong Ortiz and really won the fight with his right hand. Really just knew the right times to step in with the right hand, dropped him all 3 times with that punch, and Ruiz won the fight. I think Wilder, we got to see what we get from Deontay October 15th. If Deontay's still Deontay, if he blasts through Robert Helenius and still looks like himself, Wilder's the favorite in that fight. Wilder's the favorite in that fight. But we don't know what we're getting from Deontay. He remains the wild card of the division now because we know what we get with Ruiz. We know what we're getting with Usyk. We know what we're getting with Fury. And we know what we're getting with Joshua at this point. It's Deontay, who is the wild card. And Deontay on his phone ringside doesn't look the most impressed. Looks a little more preoccupied with what's on his cell phone. But I like that fight. Ruiz and Wilder. I like that fight. So let's see what the chat had to say. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We're just waiting in on the judge's final verdict. One judge has got Ortiz 113, 112. You think so? I think Ghost is closer to the truth. He said Ruiz wins 118, 111. I think we're more likely to get a card like that. Aaron Sanchez, I'm guessing your name is Aaron. I see A. Sanch. Thank you, my friend, for the compliment. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary tonight. We're waiting on the verdict now. Good stuff. Good stuff by Ruiz. Didn't set the world on fire. But at the end of the day, 3 knockdowns and showed us a new layer to himself, a new dimension. He's a smart guy. He was a smart fighter tonight, patient. I think if you're a King Kong Ortiz fan, you're justified if you feel like, hey, 4 or 5 years ago, Ortiz would have won that fight. I think that I don't think that's hating on Ruiz or taking it away from him. But maybe he wouldn't have, but Ruiz got the job done tonight. And we've seen and fought a similar fight. He wound up fighting a very similar fight he fought to Chris Arreola. Got hit with a big shot early, knew, okay, this guy can hurt me. This guy can line me up. Let me take my time and be smart about it here. Use my speed, and youth. All right, unanimous decision. $113, $112. You were right. And two scores of 114, 111. Closer scores than I thought we were going to get. And the winner, the destroyer, Andy Ruiz. Yeah, so Andy had to sweat a little bit there. 1 point on one card, 3 points on the other two cards. I think 114, 111 is a good card. But I think 13, 12 was generous to Ortiz. He was hurt in a number of rounds. Even some of the rounds he didn't get dropped in, he was wobbled. So you had to give those rounds to Ruiz. But whatever. The right man won. Final punch stats. Ortiz actually outlanded Ruiz 78 to 76. An awful work rate by both fighters, particularly Ruiz. Ruiz threw 287 punches tonight. That's actually an atrociously low number for a top flight heavyweight fight. Yeah, these are big guys. They're not going to throw 60, 70 punches around like Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. But let's see here. Let's do the math. At 290 punches over 12 rounds, what is that, about 25 punches a round? That ain't going to get it done against most guys. That's going to get it done against an aging King Kong Ortiz who couldn't withstand those occasional right hands anymore. But 287 punches, that's definitely not going to get it done against Alexander Usyk or Tyson Fury. 100% not going to get it done. Wilder will go long stretches of rounds without throwing punches either, as he's looking to just line you up once. So you can get away with that a little bit more with Deontay, but good, at the end of the day, good smarts by Ruiz. He wins the fight, deserved to win the fight. Good win on his resume. You always like to have a guy like Luis Ortiz on the resume. I think this concludes it for Ortiz at the top of the division. I like for King Kong. Let's pass the torch. Let's see him fight Frank Sanchez as a pass the torch fight before he gets out of here, because he didn't get knocked out and he held his own tonight. He was competitive, but you know what? I feel like, and it may be a boring fight, but I would like to see King Kong fight Sanchez and call it a day. That's just me. It's not like that fight draws a whole lot of revenue or anything like that, or it's an exciting style matchup. But I just like the idea of him handing the torch to the next top Cuban heavyweight, Frank Sanchez. But King Kong, as always, is a class act in there, man. Head held high. Family was very emotional, but thankfully for them, their daddy, he didn't get knocked out. They had to suffer through him getting dropped a couple times, but he didn't get knocked out. So goes home with a good check and a good performance for his age. But Andy Ruiz, man, it looks like we're gonna get that Wilder fight next. That's a good pay-per-view fight. I think that'll, unlike tonight, I think that'll do some decently strong numbers. I think that's much closer to a true pay-per-view fight. I'm not sure what kind of action we get in that fight, though, because Deontay goes long stretches without throwing a whole lot of shots. He's not an active guy, except for that third Fury fight. But he's not an active guy. He's a guy that likes to line you up for one big shot, and that's what Ruiz was doing tonight. That's what he's done in his last two fights. He hasn't fought at a crazy pace. So we'll see, though. Hopefully we get that fight next. Hopefully we get Fury versus Usyk, and we get Ruiz versus Wilder, and the winners of those fights can come together and fight each other. So let's see. Before we get out of here, chat, anything you guys want to talk about before I get on out of here? David Lawrence, I think you're the best in the business. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Viva la raza from Mike Aranda. Wilder will KO Andy in 9. Not a bad prediction. I can see that happening. Here comes the excuses. Ruiz beat a old Cuban. I mean, he is old. I think it showed in punch resistance more than anything else tonight. So, but I do think Ortiz was caught off guard by Ruiz's intelligence and his patience. That wasn't the game plan I expected. That wasn't the game plan he showed us on media day. The media days, man, what a rookie move by me. Actually thinking they're showing me what they're going to do on fight night. Some fighters do that, but for the most part, not so much. Let's see. Great comment. Thank you, Broken Dangerous. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, Rusty B 1590. Ruiz retires Wilder. Wilder is finished after that Fury beating. Race car. We don't know that until October 15th. He's the wild card, man. We know what we got from everybody in the division. We know Joe Joyce is big and slow and tough and punches hard. Oh, Deontay Wilder is coming to the ring. He's walking into the ring. Deontay Wilder is getting in the ring. We're gonna get a little face-off with Andy Ruiz here. Jaime Montoya keeps talking to Ruiz in the ring. Oh, Wilder steps through the ropes. He wants to smoke. He says, yeah, I'm good with this. Let's get this show on the road. Let's get this pay-per-view. Shakes hands with Andy's son, classy guy, Deontay, an extrovert, got a good heart, you know, but will knock shit out of you with that right hand, as we all know. Heidi Androl now talking to Deontay. Maybe let me turn this up, guys, so we can hear what they're saying. Wow, they're saying he deserves his respect for his fight tonight. Wilder, again, just kind of sending his heart out to Ortiz because he relates to him on fighting for their daughters. Much love to Ortiz. What you got to say about Ruiz, though, champ? Deontay Wilder is back October 15th, he says. If that's what's lined up next, I got to handle my business so we can get to it. Okay, so not nothing like a resound. Now the two dap up and you know, exchange pleasantries before they go their separate ways for the night. Not exactly Floyd Mayweather, Shane Mosley, little weak. You know, not exactly Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury at Barclays Center 4 years ago. I would have liked to. We got to do this thing. I'm gonna handle my business October 15th, and you are next. You know, but you know, hey, that's just me wanting them to hype up the fight. We are fight hype. That's what we do. We like to hype. So, but yeah, Ruiz outsmarts Ortiz tonight, throws us all for a loop, but gets the 3 knockdowns, gets the decision win. Looks like we're headed for him and Wilder next, as long as Wilder is himself. Wilder does look in good spirits. He looks lean and trim and in great shape as always. And is acting like a guy who still wants to fight in big fights, you know, not acting like a guy who's just content. So we'd like to see that from him. Also, shout out for wearing the Italy colors for Deontay Wilder. Very sweet. I kind of want that jacket he had on. It looked like he was repping Italy, but that's my bias talking. So anything else, guys, before we get on out of here? Anything you guys want me to cover? Quickly, we got Savannah Marshall against Clarissa Shields and Michaela Mayer versus Alicia Baumgardner coming up. We're definitely going to do a live round by round for those. Those will be overseas, but I'm gonna hold it down in the office and do a round by round. I got Shields, and I got Shields against Marshall. Feel comfortable with that pick. Not as comfortable picking Mayer over Baumgardner. That's more of a 50-50 fight. Shields to me is the best fighter in the world in women's boxing. She's in against the most dangerous woman she's ever fought. Savannah Marshall is English country strong. Whatever they call country strong in England, that's what she is. And unorthodox and confident and punches hard and bigger than Clarissa. She's a bigger girl, but Clarissa's the best in the business, so I pick her against the field. Mayer is fighting a more athletic girl in Baumgardner. Baumgardner is a hell of an athlete. She's an elite level athlete, and she's got a dynamite right hand. Michaela's never fought anyone like her, but Michaela's got a great coach. She's got better experience, and Michaela's big. She's a big 130-pounder. She's a tall girl, and she's mean. She's mean. She might be that, you know, that little white girl from Southern California, but she's mean in there, and she's got heart, and she's gonna bring it. And if Baumgardner can't hold on to that pace in the second half of the fight, she could get outworked and beat by decision. I got Mayer, but I'm not. If you know, I'm not 100% sold she's gonna win that fight. I got her. I do pick her to win, but that's a tough fight. So, but yeah. Anything else before I get out of here? Who won? And Ruiz won. If you're just joining. If Ruiz fights Wilder, he needs Eddie Reynoso in his corner, says Richard. Well, I expected more of the Reynoso style tonight. Hands up, head movement, hands up, head movement, putting intelligent pressure on. Got literally zero of that tonight. It's actually a good thing the video I tried to edit for you guys got sabotaged because I told you guys that's what Ruiz was going to do tonight, and he did the exact opposite. But nah, Reynoso, I don't know. You know, I'm not sure. Ruiz might be better off fighting Wilder the way he fought tonight. Boxing and being patient, because if he tries to put intelligent pressure on Wilder, that seems like inevitably you're going to walk into a right hand fighting in that style. So we'll see. Wilder will struggle with Ruiz being shorter. Ruiz can get in quick and jab and counterpunch. I agree. And Ortiz did that very well in the second fight against Wilder. But he's got to do that for 12 rounds without getting hit. But we don't know what we get. So, all right. Breakdown on Tank versus Tio at 140 for $2. My man, Juju Boxing. Thank you, brother, for the donation. Okay, Tank Tio, 140. Tank has timing on his side if they were to fight right now. He's still undefeated. Tio's still on shaky ground mentally. His punching power didn't look the same at 140 as it did at 135. It took him about 100 shots to get Pedro Campa out of there. That said, I've always given a little bit of an edge to Lopez, surprisingly, because I think they're pretty close to even across the board in so many areas. They're both these slick, powerful, athletic guys. They're both guys that they don't really cut the ring off. They're best when you come to them, and they're both really special counter punchers, and both can knock you out with one shot, with a shot you don't see coming with those counters. Tio's bigger, and that's always what gave him a slight edge to me. Is Tio's a little bit bigger, but Tank might have a better chin than Teofimo. Tio went down against Kambosos, never been stopped, but Tank is a little Tank. Tank is a sturdy guy. He might have a little bit better chin than Teofimo. But I've always given a slight edge to Teofimo because I think they're very close to even across the board. Both guys are slick and powerful and explosive athletes. But Teofimo is a natural 35-40, and Tank started at 30. So, but right now, the timing favors Tank because Tank is firing on all cylinders, and Tio's still shaky mentally coming off that Kambosos loss. Still getting right. Let's see. If Ortiz was younger, he'd have knocked out Ruiz. That's not an absurd opinion by any stretch. And yeah, so Virgil versus Spence. Spence right now. Virgil in that fight against McKinson still showed. Still. Put it this way: if Spence would have been in with McKinson, he would have been that much more surgical and precise in breaking him down behind his jab. So Spence is still just a better fighter at this point. I got Spence. It'd be a great style matchup. It's still Virgil's a live dog in the fight, but I got Spence in that fight. But it's a great style matchup in terms of action. Tank will smash him. Stop the cap. I get it. Tank deserves to be the favorite. Horrible breakdown. Tank will spark Tio. What makes you so, Tank will spark Tio? It's not like, look, Tank was pretty much even on the cards with Rolando Romero through 6 rounds. Okay, he didn't blow out Rolly Romero. He didn't blow out Isaac Cruz. He went 12 with Isaac Cruz. So what's so crazy about thinking Teofimo, who's much more talented than Isaac Cruz, could at least go 12 with him? You're just saying he's going to get sparked out. Leo Santa Cruz, before he got his ass sparked out by that beautiful left uppercut, it's a competitive fight. Mario Barrios, they had to tell Tank, whether it was true or not, you're behind on the cards to get him to up the ante in the second half of that fight. So Tank hasn't been, picture perfect invincible in all these fights, but he's getting them out of there. So, nah, man, I don't think he just simply sparks Tio out. That's a very competitive fight. Again, Tio is dynamic and athletic, exactly, and he could punch. So Tio is a flashy, athletic fighter. He's not always fundamentally sound. Tank is more fundamentally sound than him, but he's a naturally bigger kid, and he lets his hands go when he's comfortable. He lets his hands go a little bit more than Tank. But that's a great fight. That's a great fight, and right now, I think Tank would deserve to be a favorite. He's firing on all cylinders, but we're never going to see it anyway. So, in all likelihood. And you think Ryan will fall for Tank? Yeah. I think at some point Tank better feints, is just more seasoned, skills wise, has better defense than Ryan, better upper body movement than Ryan. At some point, he fakes Ryan out of position, fakes him with a feint. I just see it off a feint. You can get him into a spot where he's assessed Ryan, used his IQ, Tank, and he'll probably use a couple of looks to see how Ryan reacts to certain feints, how he positions himself defensively, and at some point line him up. But it's dangerous because that left hook from Ryan, it comes like a whip, and if you're a short guy like Tank and you fall just an inch short of a shot, the left hook comes back like a whip, and you could find yourself looking up at the lights. So that's a great fight. That's a great style matchup. It's two really fast, explosive athletes that have one punch power. That fight is a great matchup. Although Ryan is a little green for Tank right now. Let's see, Tank. Loma over Shakur. I think Shakur would win that fight right now. And all right, I think so. I guess that about does it, man. Thank you guys for kicking it with me after this fight. That's about it, man. Again, last call for any. Yeah, all right, that's it. I'm getting the curtains. They're playing the music. Thank you guys for joining us. I'll see you next Saturday for Shields and Marshall. Thank you everybody for joining us on FightHype.